I'm back. It's time to find the find the Gungans on the Boo. We're gonna go. We soon going to meet the Jar Jar, and he's soon going to be punished. We swim into polluted water.
Okay, I'll approach you to the comm center.
There we go.
We'll update when we've cleaned house.
We go
Better
in
make it
here
fast.
through the
We're
kelp
already
forest.
getting word that intel detailing precise weaknesses in our allies' troop strength has been leaked to the CDP. This will inevitably lead to heavy losses on our side. We need to put a lid on this.
A
Understood.
bunch of detergent, I think trash in there as well. Really nice details. You know, it's. I love how dirty all of this shit just fucking looks. Like you're going through a bunch of abandoned places. Well, naturally, if they're abandoned, they shouldn't all look like some generic fucking Tron or Cyberpunk fucking hallway that they stole from some shit in Blade Runner or Alien or Star Wars, you know. It's just, how can we have this 1980s look, but not a single motherfucker does Star Wars right? It's just annoying. See, we'll equate this to Blade Runner or some other shit that they happen to be in, but
Highlighting targets now.
never the real deal.
I'm gonna hit it with some fireflies.
There we go, target variety. I also imagine this area has some optimization issues, which is why they disabled the nice water up here.
Moving to first floor.
You know, that would make sense. Like the water was nice, and then it's just traded out for some just generic Left 4 Dead 2 water. Or I mean, hell, the thing isn't even like fucking 3D. It's just like some sewage with scrolling textured poop water. I'm gonna shoot them with the poop missile.
Hostiles above and below.
Guy was right in front of me and I still missed him. Shit. There we go. Fortunately, high caliber is not on this one. There's a nice flanking route over here.
Top floor.
I don't even know how the fuck I got that guy. Explosion upstairs. I get about right here. They start sending in the shield dudes.
Moving to second floor. Bastards have raid shields. Hit them with some frags.
How about a bazooka? Hit this one with a bazooka. So a lot of this game, they tend to like warn against a lot of Freemasonry and Illuminati shit, and you'll especially see that towards the end of the game, where you get to Lotus Towers and the demon Freemasonry, Illuminati, and Satan imagery becomes a lot more prominent, especially when they start making more of the ticking noises and the sort of references to Alice in Wonderland. Now the story starts off fairly grounded, but as it goes along, it becomes more and more obscene to the point where it's like, okay, what the fuck is happening with Hendrix and Taylor? Because they're constantly getting into it, they're constantly fighting, they're constantly having some bad blood, until the end of the game literally has you going through a bunch of blood with bad guys in it, and burning a bridge, which Hendrix appears on the other side of. The presentation is a little ham-fisted, but it does get the point across pretty simply. It's just, you know, unique presentation, but since nobody's gonna tell you, you literally walked through a bunch of bad blood with the bodies of dead people you just murdered. And then there's a burning bridge. Well, since nobody was able to use their eyes, they didn't put two and two together. Plus, a lot of these people who get sponsored by corporate tend to have the same interests as, you know, the people who want to hide this shit, so naturally,
Time to kick some fucking ass.
you know, it's corporate's word against theirs. When they support this shit, they also condemned it. It's like, you know, pick a fucking side. Do you or do you not want everything to be slow and full of garbage? I mean, Seems to me nowadays like they do, but that's not the way it used to be. When the Xbox One came out, I think they
Moving
were
to
the
third
most
floor.
critical about this shit. This was the dedicated like Xbox One launch, or well, not launch, but like full Xbox One Call of Duty game, and they were constantly like showing off their volumetric lighting and other, effects all throughout, and I think it looks really nice. I think especially throughout this game, they've maybe not had like the best physics, but it's certainly a bump up from a lot of their other games where most of this shit just, it once again looked like an Xbox 360 game. But if this looks like any Xbox 360 game, I'd say it most closely resembles Mirror's Edge or Battlefield 3 in terms of fidelity. And those games often did have better lighting, but what this game might lack in the lighting department at times, it does have some decently lit places, but I think its biggest issue is like the textures. Mostly, if the textures were upscaled a fair
we're wrapping
bit,
up our
it
sweep.
would look considerably nicer throughout.
Warlord, take cover! Get back!
And also just like some
Hendricks, you hit?
animation issues.
No, I got him.
But it's that same thing I like from Force Unleashed 2, where it's like you're playing the game more and more, and you start dealing with big-ass robots and
hell?
monsters.
Who's shooting?
That's just such a cool thing in these games. This is where Kane, of course, is able to successfully kill the big-ass Iron Giant in front of us.
You guys okay back there?
She helps
Agent
us
Kane?
out.
I thought I told you to stay up top.
Seemed like you could use some help. Besides, you two made so much noise, every 54i foot soldier's gonna be scrambling.
See,
to
this is
respond.
another thing I like about this
We
game
need to get
is
back
they
on
don't
track.
like
We've got to shut
fucking
down their
put
comms
Kane in
before
a
they figure out what the
bikini.
fuck's
They don't
going on.
sexualize her. Like that's another thing. When most games
Follow
tend
me.
to do that, it tells me that they have
After
very little interest in me taking their story seriously, and as a result, I tend to lose interest in a lot of the visual design of the game. Because all they were really concerned about was
It's locked down.
showboating a bunch of bullshit in front of me to then
We've
get
routed
to
all
the
comms
part
through a
where they
secondary
have
relay.
the
Can you
sexual
locate it?
woman with
Give
big
me a
boobies.
second.
Meanwhile,
Got it.
this, like,
You should be able to upload the scrambler
see,
from there.
this doesn't feel unbelievable
We'll regroup
because
at the
she's
black
not
station.
Sounds like a plan.
made to look
move.
like a fucking sex worker or something, which is the problem that every fucking game from here to Timbuktu keeps doing. Either they're gonna have a woman that looks like she's fat, ugly as shit, and had 15 truckloads of Taco Bell, or she's gonna look like a fucking Victoria's Secret model. Meanwhile, hey guys and gals who make video games, Kane exists. You do understand that not every woman needs to look like a fucking Victoria's Secret model or, be wearing fucking nothing, right? Yeah, having both extremes in that case is just fucking stupid. It's really what creeps me out of Steam. It's like, I don't need to be constantly shown big boobies and big dicks and furry shit and other disgusting, like,
It's okay.
pornography
plan once we reach the black station?
to continue using
Strike and
this
strip.
launcher.
Your DNI means you
This
guys
shit
are
is just
basically
gross.
walking data drives.
Like,
We
there was
upload
never
all data
anything
to you,
of
then
real
wipe
fucking
everything.
value coming out.
about
Most
evac
of the
for
shit
any
was just some
survivors?
copy of some game that'd been made
Facts
10
are,
years ago.
the station
So
went
it's
dark.
like,
It was raided by the
if
dominant
it's not
militarized
that,
force
it's
in this
usually
territory.
fucking porn.
It's likely there won't be any survivors.
I'm out. This shit just got weird real fast, Meanwhile, this was the kind of cool shit they used to make and, release constantly. It was like, hey, fun action games, or you're a badass, you're doing all of this cool shit, or you're doing all of this dark shit, and it's like, they don't fucking make them anymore like that. They don't fuck around with cool shit like this. They don't have cool billboards off to the side and all this fucking destroyed debris and, natural disasters, flooding, trees with all these wavy leaves on them. Like, I'm sure that must have taken a long time to animate all of that. I'm sure most of the vines and all of this was very, very resource intensive. So it's kind of, impressive most of this runs and looks as well as it does on a Xbox 360. As well as, that's the thing with the texture resolution. I'm willing to accept a texture that looks like that if it means you get so much shit that is in the world. Like, look at how dense and fucking destroyed most of this looks. I mean, I'm thinking about reviews I had seen of this game where there were a few people thinking like, oh, it looks sterile. Like, what fucking game were you playing with all this trash everywhere? This does not look sterile at all. Dead bodies fucking hanging. Like, oh boy, they dealt with some real fucking dark subjects in games like this. And, you know, thanks to Microsoft and Windows 11, this game has pretty much become like the hit piece on that shit. AAA satire game. The Spec Ops The Line of current day technology, as I would say. And, while this game certainly did have its failings, mostly in just, you know, environmental presentation, plus the Call of Duty fan base not being able to see past their fucking nose without being given an objective marker to it, you know. You're bound to get issues like that, but where I think they shined was especially in the environments, maybe not in the texture quality. And as well as that, just really good body language, the storytelling based on like dream theories and psychotherapy, the sort of unraveling of a lot of issues that have been plaguing AAA games even today, because they still use this shit. It didn't go anywhere.
We're approaching the comms relay. It's heavily defended.
All of this stuff is still totally used throughout tons of video games. Your favorite games, guess what? They psychologically and emotionally manipulate you into believing that a lot of the ways that they've conditioned you to behave are just you naturally wanting to play a game. Yeah, because of course, you naturally wanted to be limited, choked out, fucking restricted, told you can't enjoy this game on your own terms. Yeah, that's what you wanted, right? Well, that's what you get when you fucking defend that shit. There's nothing wrong with liking a game, but the problem is they've taken advantage of most people, and most people have just become hilariously complacent to the point of parody. Nowadays, so many people want a broken-ass game that doesn't fucking work. They want a game with worse graphics that looks like shit. They want some garbage that looks like it came out on the PlayStation 2. They've given up. There's this weird circle jerk with Half-Life and Valve fans especially. The biggest reason why I don't use the Steam forums anymore, or just Steam in general, is there's like no fucking community to get into. Why would you bother with a community if it's always just gonna be the same borderline fucking obsessive, creepy circle jerk about how cool Gabe Newell is? And if you dare say anything different, well, time to fucking die, motherfucker. Like, why are these weird, ambiguous rules being forced onto the Steam forums at all times? This seems weird. It's like fucking propaganda, more like. And propaganda is a big theme throughout this fucking game. The NRC makes, you know, heavy use of propaganda throughout their first mission when they're introduced. They're not shown as the good guys by any means. You know, they like to rewrite history. There's a lot of information and thought control going on in this game, and constantly throughout it you see the dangers of these things and how people and companies and governments are abusing and misusing a lot of technology that was created, you know, with the intention of ensuring that there were multiple, you know, decentralized, like the internet was supposed to be this decentralized
Come on, get
communication
to work on that
server.
relay.
Shut the fuck up, Hendrix. It's supposed to be this decentralized system for, you know, ensuring that communication could still work in the case of an attack. Because being decentralized allowed the shit to be more reliable in case one system goes down. Well, you've got hundreds, if not millions more.
Got eyes on the Black Station. It's swarming with 54 immortals. Sending you an
And
updated
eventually, you know,
RPD
internet came out to
On our way.
civilians and all that
We
shit.
done here?
And that's the way it sort of evolved, is it went right back to the way that it was kind of designed for the army, this locked down, encrypted shit that became way more centralized thanks to a bunch of companies wanting all the power, as people, you know, and companies eventually do. They see a means to make a problem and then not even sell you the solution, but sell you the idea of the fucking solution, half-ass the whole thing, and leave what you had to begin with in a vulnerable, fucked up, broken state and a hollow shell what it once used to be. And Black Ops 3 throughout the, the game and its runtime shows the dangers of leaving all of this old shit behind. What if you applied the same logic that we tend to do to Windows 7, XP, and Vista, and all those computers that are perfectly fine, to people? What if you treated end of life like it's end of life for all these people who've just been left to die in Singapore? It's,
Structure's unstable.
how fucked up would that
Could break
be?
apart at any
very,
point.
very fucked up. I mean, people still live here, and look at their fucking towns. They don't exactly look like the best of living conditions. There's their bridge so they can get from one side to the other. Here's our bridge.
Watch out, Hendricks! That building's coming down!
And most of that animation wasn't particularly, that good. It's very robotic if you think about it. But thanks to them just using a simple, trick from Left 4 Dead 2 of all things, and then adding some camera shake and dust particles, it looks a lot more impressive than it is.
Watch your step!
Particles.
You don't
that
want bad weather to be
or
part of your
physics.
epitaph!
Physics with the planks and the drywall and other stuff. Water that's leaking through the top and the bottom. And all these particles here that are, clashing against it. If more games were like this on the Xbox 360, where it's like, okay, well, you sacrifice texture resolution to have just a shitload of stuff everywhere. Okay, I can understand that. And it means you also get a ton of content, thing works offline. If this was the standard of quality for games, I wouldn't have been too terribly upset with it. Because at least there still would have been enough of what was in Xbox 360, and then they would have carried that forward, and then maybe the price drops eventually, I'll go buy it on a sale, Because I'm that kind of gamer. I would buy shit on random intervals, but even doing that began to just not be a good option anymore. So it's like, okay, well, Steam is not going to be a good option.
Trying to grab everything they can.
Why would I
before the
buy
worst
any of the
storm
shit
hits.
from them at all? Plus, as well as
What do
that,
you
just like
suggest?
the terms get changed. So the old terms that I had used no longer
I suggest we
apply
hit
to
him
the
before
new
the storm
product.
does.
The language here, it's not too terribly sassy. It's not demeaning of Hendricks. They're not treating her like she's some kind of fucking important special snowflake who needs to be protected. So that's why she needs to put down all the men next to her. No, it's just she is another soldier. She's treated like a normal person. They don't treat her any differently. Now Hendricks has his issues with her, mostly because she's the CIA, but do they treat that as if, because she's a woman, that's the problem? No.
Their grunts will have to reboot! Take them out while we have a chance!
It's because of where she works. That's what Hendricks has a problem with. When you realize that, it's like, oh, okay, so they're actually using the real-world history to then enhance this, futuristic setting that they've made. There are still elements of current-day reality, even in the fiction that they have written. And therefore, it gives it a level of authenticity, and a level of believability, and a level of immersion. Even when this shit is stylized and cartoonish,
Reinforcements coming down the street!
you still have everything looking dirty to help that sort of look somewhat natural. And it's like, if more things were cartoonish, but like, okay, they're dirty to compensate, I could understand that, because it would be much easier to make. And it's the same way that Gears of War had operated as well. Like, everything they had made was incredibly, like, comically rotten, dirty, but if you were to take off all that dirt, the characters would look kind of simplistic. They would look very muscly for sure, but, so do they in here. But that's kind of what helps the game, and,
Kane,
all this shit.
We got
is
eyes on the black station.
big robot fucking muscles they got on Hendricks and these other characters.
Okay.
So,
Let's find out what we're dealing with here.
it's a fantasy. At the end of the day, it's a work of fiction. So to treat it as if it has to be some weird, like, ultimatum like they do, they and then to surround themselves with all of this perverted, creepy shit, and then to talk about it like it's just okay to fucking flaunt your dick in public or something is just fucking gross. So.
What the hell tore through here?
they went from making
Something
fun
left in a
games
hurry.
that weren't against this
Can't.
kind of uncivilized
Could be
behavior
54i grunt
to then
detonations.
engaging and interacting in it all the
Yeah,
time.
maybe if the doors were
without
blown in.
any form of self-awareness.
But they're blown out.
You know, no fun physics anymore. No fucking hammers or any shit that goes flying when you fucking shoot it. No boxes or nothing. All this shit's fucking stapled and fucking super glued down now. No fun allowed for you, bitch. Get the fuck out. You're fired. You know, it's just none of this. You can't do any of this anymore. They could do this shit in a game from 2015. They can't do it now for some fucking reason. You want worse graphics in games that fucking run better? Well, hey. Here you go, early Xbox One. There's your solution. It's not even too particularly hard to just beef up some graphics from the Xbox 360 and make most of this still look somewhat well lit and somewhat highly polished, you know? Bunch of fucking two-dimensional particle textures coming through the door. Half of the lighting in here isn't even volumetric. Like the floodlights, yeah, those are. That is. Or if that's not, then, you know, other shit out here is. That's volumetric. Volumetric sunlight coming through the clouds way over yonder. You know, it's little things like this where they have the opacity of the light, and it's like a cone. This shit runs on an Xbox One. This is all medical equipment here again, you know, as well. Just same pattern. But anyway, it's like they're raiding the CIA base here that we had. CIA is doing terrible shit, so are the people retaliating against them, so it's this constant cycle of people unwilling to cooperate, unwilling to be civilized, that leads to more and more war and fighting and violence. And every company seemingly is fine with this behavior now. Before, they used to condemn this kind of shit. Also, there's some beeping here on this panel. I don't know if anybody has like a fucking program to make this audio into something that you could visualize, but right here, for some reason, this monitor specifically is beeping. So, I don't know. I don't have like a spectrogram, I think is what it's called. But yeah, just like all these little details. They used to have them in Next Gen. That was kind of the biggest reason why I liked getting into these games and playing them, was they had a lot of the cool shit I liked from Xbox 360, but now it looked and ran so much better. And yeah, they pretty thoroughly told me to fuck off and never come back, so you know, if that's the attitude that they're gonna have about it, that's no attitude to
Something
have at
up
all.
ahead. Get ready.
As well as that, since this is more of the Corvus shit starting to seep in, brain computer over here with the monitor, you're starting to see that the monitor is glitching out. There's also a bunch of these like flight paths and targets on this computer display with aircraft points of view, POV. There's a bunch of the reports of suspicious activity, monitoring. Once again, it's like, you know, how many times have there been fucking data breaches for private, you know, supposedly private information on, you know, public servers just out there? You know, wouldn't it be fucking creepy if your private data was just fucking out there, right? And most YouTube, you know, people, big fucking channels would do like some sponsored bullshit. So this is even more fucking creepy. Because how the fuck do you think those free ones that they sponsor, free, quote unquote, because nothing in life's fucking free, right? How do you think that shit got free? Well, of course, they harvest your fucking data. You know, shit that Linus Tech Tips or other big tech YouTube channels would fucking use to get the bills paid. Some scam shit, hoping that a 12-year-old would go to the website and get fucked over. And, you know, they get their mom's credit card stolen because what they actually started advertising was a crypto miner. Right? And they didn't know. The sponsor, you know, the person who sponsored this shit. Apparently. Oh, there's no way they could have known. Oh, I'm so sure. No, they knew full fucking well. They just decided to, like, fucking ignore it, shrug their shoulders, and hope nobody would fucking notice. Every time. You think that they sign these contracts without fucking reading them? They're stubborn. They're not stupid. They do this shit intentionally. They're like, oh no, it was an accident, guys. I'm so sorry. You shouldn't have to apologize 5 million fucking times for bullshit. Once is a mistake. Twice is coincidence. 3 times is a pattern. Every single time after that is just intentional. So, it's really, really simple things, you know? So there's the Frozen Forest, like, monologue throughout. There's a bunch of, 54 mortal enforcers who didn't even get in. They were going to rig this place to blow after they were looting it. And what they're looting it for, as you can see, is what appears to mostly be, like, medical equipment. They're trying to steal first aid and computers. You got their fucking Alienware here. And do we go back and, like, reclaim any of this shit? No, we just stop them from being able to use it, which is probably how they get away with most of the data theft they've been doing throughout this. You know, they're stealing our shit. They're even fucking graffitiing it. They're shooting it in a few cases. Blood, death on the walls. And, it's all these things that start to add up the more you look at them. Now, this recording of the therapy sessions and the analyses of the various test subjects, which the test subjects, there are 3 of them. One is apparently listed as having died due to self-inflicted wounds. The situation mirrors what happens to the squad, Taylor and his squad, right? Dies due to self-inflicted wounds. Taylor kills himself to save you, right? Trades his soul for your soul with the devil. The other 3 are Hall and Moretti and Diaz. And the reason I know this is because Dr. Salim is in Hall's head, kind of confirming that she was taken as a child from birth involuntarily and turned into a super soldier like Halo. So, I'll show you the computers and how I'd figured this shit out.
There's someone in there. We need this door open now. Let's go.
Mention the fucking computers outside of accolades.
There's no need for brute force.
They say, oh, I don't understand it. It's
Sometimes
like,
you just need to knock.
The lack of understanding seems fucking deliberate across the board.
Let them wash over you like the gentle waves of the bluest ocean. Let them envelop
Holy fuck.
So, once again, the glitching out brain computer. Dead guys who look like they came out of a fucking PlayStation 1 racing game.
Turn that shit off.
Just because of the low polygon count on the mirrors, it's unfortunate. But
What the fuck?
brain
Is this
computers
King?
all around.
Running a
See,
search now.
Corvus is starting to, like, make you hallucinate.
Denial of reincarnation. Perpetrated by Jay Zhang.
Lies and deceptions.
54 Immortals Enforcer. It was an execution method reserved
It's always
for
the
their
shit in
worst
the
enemies.
background, too.
Performed while they were still alive.
And that's how Corvus starts. It's going to start as something that'll just be in the background of a lot of these environments. Like, see how
That's
the
not good.
monitors are flashing?
What?
Brain scans.
Something else?
Your brain scans.
The
Constantly.
data drives. They're gone.
And even the monitor she's using is glitching out.
Surveillance footage, reports, debriefs, everything we
Corvus
came here
is
to
on that
download and
monitor.
clear. Local hard copy of a CIA black site provides a daily sync with ongoing CIA global activity. If that gets out,
It would compromise every CIA operation around the world.
Yep.
What about the drive's tracker?
biodomes. The heart of 54 Immortals operations and home of brother-sister team and leaders. Go Min and go Zhulan.
So let's go get our drives and give them a little payback.
I don't think the Immortals killed these people. You saw the doors blasted from the inside. You saw them drilling. They never made it inside this room.
So who do you think did it? I mean, who else had access to this?
The last recorded operation at this station involved a Winslow Accord Black Cyber Ops unit.
And since
There's John
Corvus
Taylor's
doesn't
team.
have the data for Dylan Stone, Fierro,
they had something to do
Ramirez,
with these
and
murders?
Alice
There's
Conrad,
no fucking way,
which is
Kane.
the real name of
I
the
know
squad,
Taylor. There's no way he'd turn on
according
his
to
own.
the book of this game, well, yeah, Corvus jumps to the assumption that Taylor had done this. There is no way that Taylor would turn on his own like that, because he didn't. In fact, him and his squad hunted down actual traitors. So, that's peculiar. And, you know, it's like what Taylor says at the end of the game. Maybe he's a glitch in Corvus's system, because Corvus is rewriting history, right? Corvus is constantly putting in all of these little doubts and lies and deceptions to try and throw you off of the truth. And when you realize that Corvus is the one altering all of these events, you know, making people say and do shit they didn't, because that's what Hall admits. Later when you kill her, you know, it feels like I did it, but I didn't really. It's almost like it was a dream, like you know, I hadn't done it, because she didn't. Corvus did it. Corvus is in her brain, altering the events, saying let her go. Corvus is like the devil, and Taylor is like the angel, and they got these two fighting on the shoulders. You know, you got these two, this demon on one shoulder, and Taylor is the angel on the other. These characters are like literally polar opposites. One guy is Mr. Clean, the other is literally Satan. So it's a decent story, and I do like the meaning behind it and the intention. It's just the perception it got, and unfortunately what it was predicting was like, you know, Back to the Future. I guess y'all weren't ready for that, but you kids will like it one day. I guess. But that's the thing that a lot of the companies who make this shit now kind of bank on is, oh, well, let's just hope you don't go back and realize what we were saying and doing and how it applies to now. Let's just hope that nobody, you know, happens to pay any attention to that man behind the curtain like the Wizard of Oz, right? When you see that, it's like, oh, it just looks scary out front, but behind the scenes you realize it's a cheap fucking pale imitation of an Xbox 360 game with half the fucking content. The truth of the matter is, everything that they have been doing since Xbox 360 has been like just regurgitating the same shit with slightly better visuals. And now they're not even doing the slightly better visuals part right. They're not even doing the part of the scam where they like sell you back the fucking game correctly. They're just scamming all the people who buy this shit and making unfinished games. Yeah, I'm really excited to play the newest $150 video game for a $1,000 PlayStation 5 console thanks to scalping that never went away. Or thanks to inflation, you know, and taxes and all this other shit. Really, really excited to go play this console that has nothing of real interest or value on it. And that isn't really particularly fun. You know, what wonderful games do we have on this console? Oh, wouldn't it be remasters of 20-year-old games or 10-year-old games from the PlayStation 3 and 4, remasters of games from, you know, older console generations, for fuck's sake? Really? This is halfway, more than halfway through this fucking console generation, and most of the shit we're getting is shit that's already been fucking released. And as well as that, a lot of destructive edits have been done to this shit. There have been some big name channels who have, you know, constantly been pointing this out, but then a lot of others who will just say, oh, you're racist if you point this shit out. Because racism in their eyes basically is fucking anything. Which really has enabled a lot of people who are probably actually racist to go out and do some terrible things while all the attention is just being diverted to people who are minding their own business and just saying they don't like a video game. Unfortunately, as, Imp Lemon, I think, did a great job of pointing out, it's like, when people are left to their own devices, often, and too many people get clumped together, they really start to boil into mob mentalities. They often tend to say and do a lot of really regrettable shit, hurting a lot of people just because they feel bad on a fucking day. And they want something to fucking lash out at, just because they couldn't take care of themselves. Or they felt they couldn't, or they just didn't for whatever fucking reason. They'll say you have to do all of this bullshit. But most people never really ask what's in it for them because they're just overwhelmed by the amount of noise that constantly and very quickly comes at them. And that's what I think this game also demonstrates well, just the noise, the amount of shit that AI and people tend to produce. A lot of social media, a lot of launchers especially, I have had to avoid simply because I don't like the direction that they constantly go in every time. What replaced completed working games with big dudes and shooting and guns and medieval shit, Gears of War, God of War, fun adventure games, even the stuff that was more kid-friendly, like some, Skylanders or Star Wars, a lot of that stuff, which just had the standard of being complete and working, for fuck's sake, looking good, running good. What replaced that was anime, boobies, porn, unfinished work, non-functional turds of games made by some Russian motherfucker on Steam, half-assed, fucking cobbled together shitty ports made by broke-ass companies who can't even fucking correctly port a 20-year-old video game to most home consoles, for fuck's sake. Like, the Battlefront Classic Scam Collection, the Catastrophe Collection, where they get raked over the fucking coals. And they say they're so happy for all the feedback they got. Oh, so that's what they meant by feedback all these fucking years. Because clearly they never took anything into account. Feedback means, at least we know for certain, one of these companies has unveiled the meaning behind their robotic fucking drivel. Feedback means how much bitching you've done today. That's a really corporate fucking way of saying we didn't really, want to be our customers anyway. We just inherited this mess from some dickweed 20 years ago we fucking hate, named George Lucas, Disney, you didn't have to fucking buy Star Wars. You didn't have to do any of this shit. If all these people just didn't want to fucking be there, then there's a simple solution. If you can't do a good job, just don't fucking bother. If you hate what you are doing, and every person involved just does not have their heart in it, just leave it be. If that means this shit gets relegated to a niche or whatever, I mean, so be it. That didn't seem to stop people from playing the first Battlefront game until they relisted it on Steam and ultimately broke a lot of the abandonware terms, so, well, unfortunately, back to the piracy bin it goes. And, the port they did ultimately broke a lot of mods. It broke a lot of shit that I used to play as well, but fuck me, because I'm just one guy on the internet who wanted to have fun playing a video game. That's the mentality that so many fucking people have on Steam. It's just this arbitrary, weird popularity contest, or with social media, too. I don't fucking care how many subs I have. I don't fucking care how many people watch these videos or like them. What does that fucking get you? Oh my god, guys, I got 1,000 videos on my 1,000 views on my Battlefield 2 videos. Okay, cool. Next video. Didn't think of it any different than the rest. And you know why? Because I'm not fucking driven by stupid-ass numbers in a video game. It's more to life than that. This is just a hobby I do for fun. If people want to sub, they sub. If they don't, they fucking don't. That's the reality of the situation. And no matter how popular you get, that is always the reality of the situation. You've got to be humble. And refusing to be humble is not going to be sustainable. You can only screw over so many people until you run out of people to screw over. So it's ultimately this self-destructive cycle where you run out of bridges to burn. it's the same nasty habit and the same nasty cycle that, Black Ops 3 predicted. The behavior, the same exact behavior. They have psychologists conditioning killers to behave like this. And especially with so many people, I had seen such a huge reaction to a lot of political and religious killings at churches, setting that shit on fire, children being murdered by, particular members of other communities, and all of the horrible, horrible reactions to that shit. It's like, the solution to so many people rioting in the fucking streets is just go play some fucking Call of Duty. If you need an outlet for your anger on the world and to take out all of these political fucking issues on something more healthy than just random people on the fucking internet, I'll just go play a fun game about it. And that's what a lot of people have been doing with Call of Duty Ghosts. I'm recording this in February. I don't know when the fuck this will actually come out. There's a big-ass winter storm. I got a shitload of snow outside, so this will probably be scheduled down the line. Plus, I've had to re-record it a few times simply because the quality of the audio was terrible, and, well, no surprise, it still is, because I'm just improvising all of this shit, of course. But, yeah, it's something that just seemed like common sense. But obviously, if common sense were fucking so common, you would think that more people would have realized that, hey, maybe not owning my games is a fucking Trojan horse in disguise. It's a fucking scam. Maybe I should do something about this instead of, like, weirdly defending a multi-billion-dollar fucking corporation of all things. Like, oh no, if, there's this lawsuit for Steam in the UK. It's like, oh no, if I sue Steam, they'll steal my games. No, they won't. If you sue Steam, you'll actually be compensated, and if they take your games from you, that's illegal. It's called retaliation. At no point does that lawsuit at all dictate that you have to have your games taken from you. Because that's not what it's about. It's about fair pricing. Why do these lawsuits keep popping up again and again and again and again? Well, I'll tell you why. Because the problem don't fucking change. It keeps getting worse. Steam is absolutely price gouging. Thanks to digital making it so you don't have to fucking have any form of, physical mass production. You could easily just make every game like fucking 10 or 20 bucks. Like, why the fuck every game isn't that by default is beyond me, because realistically that's what they should cost if they're not going to be finished as well. I mean, couple that with, like, how much broadband fucking signal do you think it takes to upload your game to Steam? I'm going to tell you, not very much from experience. I mean, a month's worth of fucking broadband to, let's just be generous. Let's say you got fucking dial-up of all things. Let's say you had the whole game uploading for the whole month, and your game is like 4 gigs. And you can't get a consistent internet connection, but you at least got enough to let the whole thing fucking run over multiple nights, and you got that shit taken care of. Okay. Well, even with that, I imagine the whole month would probably cost you for that upload, like, I don't know, $20-$30? Okay, so shouldn't you be fucking selling the damn game for like $25 or something then? If that's your sunk cost fallacy, roughly, And, I mean, yeah, more logically, but they're not doing that. They're selling these games as if it's still the old standard of where you buy it. All of the language, all of the setup is made to trick you into thinking that any of this is legit business. It is not. People will say, oh, it's the one place they don't treat you as a criminal. It is the biggest place where they fucking treat you as a criminal in this fucking gaming landscape. It is what normalized that fucking practice, and saying otherwise is a fucking lie. Games like this and Black Ops 3 fucking tried to warn you. Ironically enough, a game like Cyberpunk became one of the most corporate dick-sucking fucking games there is. It normalized a lot of these really gay trends that have caught on. I don't even say that as an insult. It's what they identify as. They have made it known that this is what they are. And then they say if you don't like it, well, you're homophobic. No, I don't like it because what you're doing is rude and incredibly offensive to anyone who actively goes outside and participates in society. We tend to wear clothes as a sign of respect. We're not fucking cavemen. You can enjoy whatever the fuck you enjoy, just don't bring it near me. You are violating not just, I mean, clearly questionably aged anime characters, but also and real people or 3D models, intricately modeled 3D models of questionably aged women mostly. There are some men, but you know, not as many as the women because we need to have the breasts be about the size of fucking goddamn New Mexico, right? And it's like, you know, the whole thing is just fucking stupid. I don't have a problem with these people. What I have a problem with is their fucking behavior. Their beliefs, I don't give a shit about. What I give a shit about is I'm not welcomed on this thing that I spent money on anymore because they randomly flipped a switch and decided to change all of their shit one day just because Gabe Newell felt like he wanted to wax his dick in fucking public and get away with a bunch of degenerate nonsense. All gay people are not like that, and trying to weirdly fixate on this and normalize this culture to say, you know, you're in some imaginary fucking kangaroo court where they are is just retarded. It's just stupid. It's fucking stupid. Why is it like you always have to play attack and defend? You have to play a fucking game of Call of Duty just to have a conversation with people. For fuck's sake, no. You're all people. Just be nice. You know, I thought that was the whole fucking point of this movement. You wanted to be accepted. Okay, you are accepted by just about fucking everything from here to Timbuktu. How about you stop taking advantage of it? I just want to play video games. Stop removing my ability to play them in order to bump up all of these porn games, because in the case of Steam, I had purchased over about 400 games in the course of like 10 years. And of those games, about 153 were still operational. The rest were toast without any notice. And most of them were indie games by small studios who could not sustain the development of the games, and because they had built a foundation for their games built on quicksand, it fell apart. You got to find a better foundation to stand on, naturally, if you build any form of entertainment. Doesn't matter how big or small you are. People thought that Overwatch was pretty big. For a lot of people, actually, Call of Duty Warzone was very big. Those games are gone. You can't play the original Warzone. Hell, it's still required to download with the 2019 Modern Warfare game, but you can't even fucking play it. How fucking moronic is that? You can't even fucking play the game without downloading another game that you can't even play. What? Why do you have to download 2 fucking games when the first game's already like 250 gigs? That's retarded. That is so fucking retarded. And on top of that, when they've clearly demonstrated in their prior games that this practice is terrible, why did they fucking do it? Well, I guess to condition you to eventually just accepting it once they did it later, because, oh, well, no one likes that campaign, so just ignore what they fucking said. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. Yeah, my falling out with a lot of this shit was a gradual process, but when I just realized, like, none of these people gave a shit about me. There was nothing in this for me. Why the fuck was I using this thing? It's the Emperor's New Groove. He doesn't have any clothes. You know, Emperor's New Clothes, right? Anyway, that's enough of that. Thanks for watching. Black Ops 3 is a pretty fun game. It deals with some wonderful cultural issues. Take care.